Lately, I've been asked by fellow geeks in a poll to do a video on the Xbox One X. So here it is, with a new segment I like to call, Is It Worth Your Money? Where we analyze the newest gaming technology or services and break down, is it really worth the price the company is selling it for? So without further ado, let's begin. The self-proclaimed world's most powerful console was announced last year as an attempt to, I guess, reach to those hardcore gamers. I say I guess because just like the PS4 Pro, it's just made to make everything look pretty for people who care about gaming and making their games run the best as possible for $499 to $399. Either way you look at it. And that's why we're here today, to discuss, is it even worth its price tag? To give you some insight on this whole entire console, the Xbox One X, we're going to give you a quick run over of what it offers. It's 40% more powerful than any other console. It has a 8-core custom AMD CPU clocked at 2.3 GHz for smoother gameplay, a 12GB GDDR5 memory for bigger worlds, and has its most fan-favorite used word, 4K resolution, not to mention a faster memory bandwidth. And those are just some of the main features. Those looking for faster load times, the Xbox experience, and not switching to another platform, which is PC, should buy this. It's a pretty good console for that. But I think I'm going to digress a little bit more into overall the good and the bad. Most likely the bad. The console itself is advanced, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have its own issues. For one, their whole selling point is convincing gamers to pay $500 for a system just to get great visuals, which is terrible because I'm not convinced at all. And if you are, well, you're a unique case, and trying to get a non-Xbox fan to buy is going to be harder than it looks. Second of all, as I've always said, their exclusivity is in a drought, and out of 42 games shown at E3 2017 at their briefing, 7 were true exclusives. Not to mention, most of these games were multi-plat that couldn't even run above 30 frames per second. Well, what's a fanboy going to say? Geekish, what about that 4K resolution that's supposed to offer 4K gaming in general? Well, that brings me to my next point. True, quote-quote, 4K. It was marketed as a true 4K console before E3, bringing 4K gaming in general. But during E3, your pals at Microsoft decided to change and add the meaning of true 4K by adding checkerboarding and dynamic resolution, which isn't true 4K but upscaling, which are completely different things. Not to mention, still, you can't game in 4K unless you have a 4K television. So even if you do game on a 4K TV, only certain games will run at that resolution. And it's not like the majority of those exclusives are going to PC. Wait, they are? With free online? And you say, and most of all the games are going to be running at 60 FPS? And maybe 4K if you have a monitor? Whoa, there's no reason to get an X then. The price is unreasonable as well, especially when people can just go out and buy an Xbox One S for $200 to $250 and play all the same games that still have all the 4K capabilities. I mean, the S can do the majority of things the X can do, just the X does it better, but not by a huge gap, especially to an original consumer who doesn't even care about the specs, because the most people educated about those specs are going to be those who own PCs at this point, even though there are some exceptions. Then we got the familiar competition between Xbox and Sony. And then you have the power versus the games. Obviously, the games win. If not to mention the first time, will be the second time. If games first are not to mention, then what about the PS4 Pro? Being $100 less than the X. And it's actually pretty close to innovation. If you look at the details and look at the specs, it really is close to innovation as the X, just not by a huge gap. Even though I do think both systems are a waste of money to me in general. So, is it really worth your money? Well, let's break down the launch for you. And by launch, I mean launch day. During launch day, it's going to be overpriced, have a lack of exclusives at launch, and have most of the awesome content stored with third-party developers and can be accessible on PS4. Not only that, but the Xbox One S is a better investment. Oh, and not to mention the tons of really good PS4 games coming out early 2018. So there really isn't much to the Xbox One X to most people. Only to people who really want to just have a good joy out of gaming and have better looking games at a better fidelity, I guess. I mean, it's just making games look better. So Xbox, if you're watching this after you replied back to me on Twitter, don't get mad at me. Blame Crap Gamer and Kids Move. No, I'm kidding. All's fair in exclusives and no exclusives, as I always say. Personally, to be honest, I believe Microsoft should have just stopped at the 1S and continued on the new IPs and buying marketing rights. But that's just a geek's opinion. So, thank you for watching the first episode of Is It Worth Your Money of this segment. And, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. And follow me on Twitter at GeekishKingdom16. I'll see you guys later on the next Geekish Gamer Show. Bye, guys.